Okay, so here's what I want to do. I just got done with that murder. The guy in jail there, and they were interrogating him for a murder of a domestic abuse case where he killed the guy, got nervous, killed the wife that was being domestically abused inside of there. It was scary. It was lost in the morality of the interrogator here for what it was. I got a few good ones. Let's do this because I don't want necessarily this to be up on my hotline for what it is here. This was the one I was watching. I just got done watching this one. Just got done watching this stuff. Um, Obviously, I could throw up a few of them for you, along with Jody and oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. But let me try to explain to you. This is very critical. All right, the unexplained repeating radio signal detected from outer space. Right, some uh, high energy radio burst from some galaxy far, far away, being the signals. I think the best way I can describe why I'm kind of so neutral on the material is like, look, when you deal with some of these cases, like whether somebody's beating somebody's wife and you come in and it gets sideways and on what it is, you got to call the cops on what that is. Yeah, you're probably going to face some crime on that, some time on that, but you know, you're going to be better off in the long end to use gravity. Use gravity. And I'm talking to this guy too, in terms of the interrogator. Why is it so critical on what that is? I think the best way I can describe it is, it's like when the murder is of somebody that's whether it be a snowflake that didn't call the cops, got nervous and ran because they overreacted in the situations of the thing, and premeditated murder as being the first degree. I think this guy should have got second degree murder on what it was. It was more of a crime of the moment, not necessarily a crime of intent. Yeah, that puts him in a bad spot in a bad way, and there's really no getting out of it. But we're not talking about some little old lady that some home invasion that you planned on. You're a career criminal. So even if you're a career house burglar, and you do that kind of that is probably way up there on the worst of the worst of the worst of it. And I would kind of reserve that for lethal injection and some of those standards on what that is. And I wouldn't much lose any sleep on it. This kind of guy right here, man, I don't know, honestly. This guy got some mental handicaps inside of there, killed his foster parents, has a lot of there's a lot going into it where the guy needs a different kind of lifestyle where he's away from sharp objects, and they should never, definitely ever have a gun in their lifetime or be around any kind of situations where that comes up. And I can't guarantee the ground's going to do that. I don't think necessarily prison is the best of the reforming policies that do that, especially when you consider what this is of stretching for first degree and long term sentences on the tax brackets for what happens inside of here. So for me, there's a pretty clear difference in why the tax reform or what system you would design for that to be different than just going for confessions on first degree murder. I mean, it doesn't make much to me. I don't think that would guarantee you a better raise. I don't think that would give you a better promotion. I don't necessarily think that looks better in the end of it. I don't think it speaks to what gravity is in terms of what the mass of somebody's gaining. You are a ball. And when you're starting to. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I'm skilled in the material, but it would certainly make a difference when you go into the interrogation room with me. I'm just gonna get a lawyer. Don't bother me asking me questions. That's how the process works. You'll hear lots of prosecutors. You don't know me. I don't know you. It's your right to have a lawyer. It's your right to get a lawyer. And there's no reason you can get mad or upset about that in the end of it. But of course, I didn't murder anybody. And these are pretty extreme cases. Eventually, I'm going to start going through, if I can find any of them, in terms of lower petty crimes, car theft, and stuff like that, just so I can kind of build some kind of case study on the material as a whole. But again, I prefer sticking from the high end of it and work my way down to reference the case in a general model. Okay, so internally in that, you see a lot of other countries with pretty convincing reform policy systems, and let's go over here to Donut News here. This guy had 40 arrests, drug crimes. We're talking about, and on one side of it, you're trying to get a guy for the most of it in the end of it, but this guy gets to walk out. What is going on? Honestly, there really why there's state law differences and federal law differences, especially at a federal crime. He had a first-degree murder charge, and he's out on the streets because he can pay bail with drug money. And the end of this, you have to look at that from the gang units and things like this and go, what the fuck are you doing? You can get the gang units to get them recruited in and have more recruits inside of here that turn into other stable jobs and stations, security posts that are jobs. And I'm not just talking about a security job. I'm talking about a real job where you still do, the basic security of the thing and janitorial stuff. I mean, that's just what this guy is going to be great for in the end of it, before that gets sideways like that, to be out on bail or whatever. He had so many he had so much stuff. If Donut is accurate in what that information is, and I don't necessarily see why he wouldn't be. Obviously, I'd start from there as testimony and then continue through. But as you're looking at stuff like this, or some of the other types of variables inside it, there's a lot of 42 in there about, I actually had a picture of Underworld. There was the vampire, the Underworld girl, and then one of the Lycans over here. The reason, okay, back to this, the reason this guy killed this one is because of her. Firstly, let me be perfectly clear and honest. But look, this guy is not a fucking saint either. It's not this little old lady, knitting away, never done anything inside here. There's a bunch of the 42 in the world. Do I think that correlates to, gravity must be served inside of this function? No. Look, that is the world's way working its damn self out in terms of what the privilege is. Yeah, we didn't have enough bullets to shoot the one. We would have shot him 17 times if we had 17 bullets. And in the end of that, it's make sure they're down. You ever seen some of these things? It's like, Donut here, he'll talk about it in the terms of, the old shoot him in the leg defense. Well, they shot him in the leg, and, well...
Hi everyone, Donut here. We've got some
as much as I love you, Donut.
Going on. Huh.
Okay. Just need the bits and the bytes here. Gun jams up. He gets one in the leg right here. Look, this guy's not going down like that. Do I think every situation is that way? No. I think 42 plays a lot into it. This is not one of those situations. Do I think he should have just been shooting at him? He's not the one with the gun over there. Why are you shooting at this guy? To be fair, that's odd. Because of that, gravity. I want to be perfectly clear on that, followed by gravity. Probably should have made other decisions. Put the gun down. Don't do that shit. Fuck.
We got an average everyday traffic stop. The officers are
bullshitting
with the suspect.
Remember, I'm not going to argue
we got Deputy Brian Potters and
protocol, or am I going to argue the differential of what that whole barracks, in terms of whether I think justifiably in the vote that situation is going to be any goddamn different. I don't think I would, from out here, I'm not about to argue with that either. Make sure that guy's down and it's not coming back to the hospital later on for this guy to get up, take up time in the infirmary, take up time in the therapy, take up time in the court system again, take up time in a prison cell. Do I think that's worth it? No. But when you go to actually see what it takes to murder somebody, or go through those investigations to hear them talk about how long or how hard it actually might be to kill somebody, a security guard from a campus hits a girl with a car, with the squad car, because he's drunk one night, or because it was dark out one night, got nervous. It actually turned into a rape case, given the interrogation and what that was. But do I feel, he had a hard time killing her, clubbed her and held a rock, she wouldn't quit, or she come back to life, hit her again, she comes back to life again, inside of what that is, 16 bullets seem about right. Okay, I want to be perfectly crystal clear about my level of involvement in terms of what the situation is, and it's not something that's easily done. Hunter's Prize is a level of intelligence, and you're going to have to justify the IQ in every fractal of what that is, and it's just not practical. There's a math problem for it. It literally takes you infinite amount of time and an infinite amount of Schrödinger multi-world universes to deal with the Higgs field of the momentum of situations like this that are put on officers that they bring into the field, and generally why you should do what the fucking police tell you what to do. Alright, so we good there. Okay, so thank you, Donut. I appreciate your interview here, but let me go back. We got some other things going down inside of here where the situation is completely day and night to what first degree murder is, to what, do I believe this was premeditated? To a certain degree. I'm sure he'd been thinking about it against his parents for a good long time. And then with that, I'm trying to bring up a couple of case studies. You do it with skid steer videos, right? Safety analysis is on what's the trajectory of these things, what's the standard and the end result of what's going down inside of this stuff. And it's just something I want to talk about as it touches a note on side here. Just because, this guy has, the guy that is one of the better ones, the neighbor he did shoot, doesn't make that neighbor a good fucking person. And I think it kind of balances out when you think about the crime. Do I really think that that's premeditated first degree? No, and I don't necessarily agree with the sentencing behind this, or the morality into it that goes into, I can't guarantee that that's going to help him get parole later, but it certainly should. But who's going to be involved with this later down the line? All I can hope is that this interrogator's numbers at 37, when he's going to be in there for a 30, 40-year career, probably retired at that time, is probably not going to answer the phone on those things, really matter. Look, he took out some dirtbag beating the shit out of his wife. And, when you rationalize what it is at the end of it, he's going to pay a due back to service, back to the community. He's going to pay it into the community service at whole. And we got to work on the refining on this thing to actually make it lucrative and effective for the police station to actually double down and output a better result. And I think we need to go through these cases a little bit more efficiently to really determine whether that's what the output is. Now, of course, again, their family's going to be upset, but again, go through some of these cases, and there's some of the most fucked up, crazy stuff for legal precedents that you could use on the stand for what that is. But I can't control whether the jury or not is going to change the output. The prosecutors have to make the differential of whether this person is going to do this. So let's go back to this kid down here. Prosecutor asking for 8 years, the judge gives him 12. I just don't understand the mechanics and why it would play out that way for some kid that's already been in jail a bunch of time messing around with a 13-year-old when he's 25 years old. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think that 25-year-old's ever going to do anything inside of here better by the standards in the situation? Do I think that money shouldn't matter? Doesn't matter how much fucking money you have. I see results like that coming up prime on the system. The trajectory of that correlates down the road. I don't have all the case logs inside here. I'm not putting in the investigative time inside here. But what I do have is a math problem from this perspective. that would lead to a very specific result that would be biased inside of here. Generally, you have to be careful with these Sharps cases. Just because it would be good for interrogation training doesn't necessarily mean that it's sensible for the law to say, well, that's Freedom of Information Act on what that is, to why these should even be presented on the internet at all without catching some kind of lawsuit from the prosecuting end of that. Hey, open it up, catch a fine and a suit on these kinds of things, because why are they justifiably allowed to do this? They weren't the prosecutor, they weren't the system. Did they sign off on with this kid and his mother to actually clear it to be okay with that? You know, maybe the kid's okay with that, maybe that actually happened, maybe that happened here, but I highly doubt it. And that's something we have to consider inside of here about, you know, what are we looking at exactly inside of here? So catch you on the next one.